recovered from yesterday's crazy game, have we? No. It was truly a case of whichever team scored last would win in a Jedi quarterback battle. The Seahawks scored with 21 seconds left in the game for a 41-38 victory over the Houston Texans. Terry Hollimon, former UW running back and co-host of the Barbershop Show, is here to break things down. How you doing?
I'm good. Extra special today.
Now, you've got on the purple because there was a really good Husky win over the weekend, too.
I did. It was homecoming weekend for my dogs, and they came out with a victory against UCLA.
They did.
Big time. I'm glad to see my Huskies back on track.
Yes.
It's good to have them back.
Give me 5 for that.
Yes.
Okay, and then the Seahawks. This was just like one of those games that you couldn't believe.
This was literally one of the best football games I've ever seen in person in my life.
You saw it in person?
Oh, yeah, I was there.
Oh my God, I didn't know you were there.
I brought my ticket. I have it framed and everything already now.
That is awesome. So
absolutely exciting.
Explain this to me. So here's some of the crazy stats. First of all the props in the world to young Mr. Quarterback for the Houston Texans.
Yes, Deshaun Watson.
Yes, Watson and Wilson were looking at each other like, is that you or me? Which one is happening here? The Seahawks had 479 yards of total offense. Russell Wilson had more than that, 482.
Yes.
What is the math trick here?
It's magic. It's magic. It's Russell magic. It's Seahawk magic. It's the only way we can do it. No, Russell had an incredible job throwing the ball and running the ball. He had all those numbers, but then you have to take into account the fact that Thomas Rawls, I think he ended up with a -1 yards rushing. And then you had Tyler Lockett, who had a -4 yards rushing.
And they take that off the team total.
They take that off the team total. And also he had a couple sacks as well. So it ended up being Russell Wilson has more yards than the entire Seahawks offense, which is Seahawks magic.
That doesn't always happen.
Yes.
He was just amazing. Just amazing.
Incredible.
Okay, so these two, Watson and Wilson, were the only two quarterbacks in NFL history to throw for 400-plus yards, 4 touchdowns, and rush for 30-plus yards.
Yes.
The only two who've ever done it did it in the same game yesterday.
It was just an absolutely amazing display of talent at the quarterback position. You look at Russell Wilson, and a lot of people have given him a hard time over the last few years as being not an elite quarterback. I think yesterday he proved it beyond a shadow of a doubt that he was electrifying, one of the top 5 quarterbacks in playing football right now for sure. And you have a guy like Deshaun Watson, who is basically just a young Russell Wilson.
He's a rookie.
He's a rookie.
This is unreal.
It is almost unreal, but if you know Deshaun Watson, you know that he's done this forever. He was a high school All-American. He did it in high school. He was in college, a consensus All-American. He won the Davey O'Brien Award, which means the top quarterback in college football 2 years in a row, and a first-round draft pick. So you know he's been able to do this since he's been playing football.
They won it all at Clemson,
Clemson
when
went to
he was
Clemson
there.
when they won the national championship.
So this is not his first big game. This is a regular season game. He probably slept through half of it. So Deshaun Watson became the first player in the Super Bowl era to notch 400-plus passing yards, 4+ passing touchdowns, and 50 yards rushing yards in a single game. So he did like 20 yards better than Russell.
Poor Russell. But yeah, but he, like I said, he's poor Russell. But you can't say poor Russell because Russell had his best day as a Seahawk. He was just electrifying. And I was saying to some of my associates yesterday that, you know, when there's 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock, there is nobody in the world you would want holding the ball other than Russell Wilson. He's just incredible.
It's so true. And when the Texans scored that last touchdown, I thought, well, that's okay. They could have gone down the field in 3 minutes and eaten up all the clock, but that's over with. Now we get the ball, and that's that. So let's talk about all the good stuff. Paul Richardson, who I just love to pieces, by pound has got to be the best wide receiver in the business.
What he weighs like 17 pounds as it is. So yeah, absolutely. He has actually shown himself to be an amazing receiver. We, unfortunately, for the first 2 years, he was bitten by the injury bug, so we didn't get a chance to see what he was able to do. But yesterday, 6 catches, over 100 yards, and just he would have had he had 2 touchdowns. He would have had 3 if it wouldn't have been called back for a penalty. But he was absolutely amazing.
Jimmy Graham, did you hold steady on Jimmy yesterday? Learned your lesson?
Jimmy gets to stay in Seattle for another week. No, I know before the game, I know. If you guys watched the show last week, I had some issues with Jimmy Graham, but we fixed it up, patched it up.
He took it back, and all is well.
There were rumors that he was going to be traded, but Pete Schneider came out and canceled
Pete Carroll or John Schneider?
They put them together. They're like a robot. They're like Transformers. They come together. John Schneider came out and said, you know, these are all rumors. This is a lie. Jimmy Graham is one of us, and we're not getting rid of him.
I think he used a particular word we can't say here.
Yeah, I'm not going to
describe so he's in. He looked so pumped. I felt so bad for him. Did he drop 1 or 2?
He had a couple missed balls in the first half.
Oh man, he looked so miserable on the sidelines, and then he just lit up like a Christmas
tree.
tree.
You watch him and Russell Wilson and their interaction on the sideline. They're yelling. It's like, ah!
Yeah,
ah,
exactly.
Ah!
Yeah.
Like,
we should do that. We need to reenact that at some point. No, just don't headbutt me. You frighten me. I'll be ready next week.
Next time.
Earl Thomas, okay, two things. One, he's amazing. The interception was just, I actually busted my larynx on that.
Boy,
I just like, wah! The dog ran. It was just, one of those things. But he, at the end of the game, pulled up a little lame. Looks like a hamstring. Do we know anything about that?
Yeah, Pete Carroll actually came out today and said he has a slight hamstring pull.
I hope it's slight.
But the challenge with that is they're going to have a chance to work on him this week and get himself ready for the game next weekend. But the challenge with that is he is such a fierce competitor. And you and I have talked about it before, that he's so intense that they're going to have a hard time holding him back in practice this week. Because he actually tried to go back in the game.
Oh, good Lord.
And they had to stop him from,
Did they have to tie him to the bench or something?
They had to rope him, chain him up. And but no, hopefully he gets some treatment this week. I know he will, and he'll be raring to go this weekend.
Take it easy, Earl. You're the only person whose jersey I actually wear, so even though I have to say Michael Bennett's my favorite player.
He did have a very good game yesterday as well, too.
Yes, and they're on opposite sides, so I figure I can have an offensive and a defensive favorite, right?
You can have both of them.
If I want to. Okay, so the, that's not true.
It's not true, but it's okay. But we can roll with it. We almost headbutted a second ago.
I was thinking of Russell. I've got three. The not so good, if anything.
Not so good.
Some penalties.
Penalties were atrocious.
Little red zone
issues. We've had those issues all season, and we've kind of been working on it. But for me, the not so good was the running attack, which was absolutely not there at all.
It wasn't that it was not good. It didn't exist.
It didn't exist at all. I mean, when you look at the guys, we've been trying to do a running back by committee, and we start with the Eddie Lacy, who we expected big things from as we brought him in from Green Bay, and he just hasn't panned out.
But you have to have something to run through.
You have to have somewhere to run behind, and that's the challenge that we're facing. We don't know if it's the offensive line or if it's the running backs. I think it's a terrible combination of both at this point in time, because Thomas Rawls is not able to have any effect on the rushing attack as well.
Could it get better as the O-line plays together more? I mean, we've seen some of that in years past where things get better over the season.
At this point in the season, we've gone past the bye week. You know, we're getting deep into the meat of the schedule now. I don't know. I think we have what we have. We're just going to have to work with it. These guys are just going to have to put in the work every week and try to come together as a unit. Because when you play an offensive line, it's just not one or two guys that you look at that could actually shine. You guys have to work as a unit and
all together. We have Dwight Freeney, who I've always loved. I don't know how much he played yesterday, but he did some things while he was out there.
Yeah, he played, I think, about 18 snaps. And
that's pretty good for somebody who just got here 3 days ago.
Just got off the plane 3 days ago. He was sitting on the couch. He was just hanging out, said he's playing a lot of golf. But he got about 18 snaps in, and he is, very fortunate here in Seattle to have a guy like Dwight Freeney. He's a future Hall of Famer, and he's bringing some veteran experience into that locker room. And he was able to get after the quarterback yesterday a lot.
And can you imagine how much fun this is for him?
Oh, yeah.
He's past 35. Who knows what was going to come, and here he is with the best defense and just having a blast.
He had mentioned it at his opening press conference when he first got here, that he had always thought about coming to Seattle and play because they have such an exciting – we're very fortunate here in Seattle to watch these guys play because it's a very unique situation. These guys on the defensive side of the football are one of a kind, a once-in-a-generation type of unit.
Yeah.
And to have an opportunity like Dwight Freeney to come and play with them, I think it's just incredible.
It's pretty cool. If you see him, would you ask him if he'll come to New Day?
Oh, I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would love something like this. Huh?
You can come with them, and we'll have adult beverages in the morning.
We're we're notorious for doing that here.
Yeah. I thought I would skip it just this once, but next time we're going back. Okay. The Seahawks take on the Redskins next Sunday at CenturyLink Field. We posted game information and social media links for Terry and his barbershop show co-host, former Seahawk great Marcus Trufant, on our website. One more thing. For 50 years, Northwest Harvest has helped feed hungry families across our state. My goodness. Just look at him. He is some kind of handsome with that smile. So I don't even know what I was saying. King 5 crews have been out and about on home game Sundays during the season, giving out our cool 12-piece shades in exchange for suggested donations to Northwest Harvest. This morning we have 12-piece shades for everyone in our audience, and we encourage you to support Northwest Harvest and join our upcoming home team harvest on Saturday, December 2nd, where we collect just oodles of food. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Actually, the green and the purple looks great.
Match, right?
Yeah. Up next, learn more about a new university in Western Washington that's paving the way for affordable technology degrees. We'll be right back. Woo!